everybody, welcome along to this edition of SportsView on nearmedia.tv. It's Monday, the 4th of August, 2025. And soccer is back over on this side of the world. Anyway, it started over the weekend, League One, League Two, and the Scottish Premiership, and all the other leagues underneath as well. Good evening, Joe, and welcome.
Good evening, Pat. Evening, Derwynne.
Good evening, Derwynne, welcome.
Hi, Pat. Hi, Joe.
Well, the Scottish Premiership started off as usual with Celtic winning 1-0 against St Mirren and Rangers drawing 1-1 with Motherwell. So they're already behind. And we'll see where they'll be at the end. League One, my old team, Luton Town, again live in League One with a win 1-0 against Wimbledon, which is good news for them for start to them, And there were wins of Huddersfield, Bradford, Doncaster, Lincoln, Barnsley, Rotherham, and Wigan, and League One. League Two, Joe, the Battle of the Towns, Grimsby Town and Crawley Town. Grimsby won that handily enough 3-0. I saw most of that game myself, on Saturday, and I enjoyed it, I must say. And Cambridge, Crewe, and Walsall also won in League Two. Women's soccer, I have to give a mention to Athlone Town. They won 3-0 against Agram. I know nothing about them except they're from Wales. That's all I know about them. They're beaten 3-0. In the Women's Champions League qualifiers, there's only one leg. Whoever is drawn out gets the home leg, and that's it. And win those draw you through them. So I don't know who they're playing now in the next round. The draw hasn't been made yet. We were following a team last year in Scotland. Well, I was myself. Bonnie Rig Rose. They were in Division 2. With a big laugh out loud now. They were relegated. I don't know where they could be relegated to after Division 2, but there is such a thing as the Highland League and the Lowland League. You know the song, this Scottish song that, I don't know, years ago.
Take the high road and you take the low road.
Take the low road.
Yeah.
And they started life on a losing. They lost to Cowdenbeath. Cowdenbeath were in the league up in the Premiership a few years back. Cowdenbeath beat them 2-1 anyway. And then there you go now. Son has joined Los Angeles for 20 million. I think it's on the BBC website. He was with Tottenham for 10 years. He'd be a loss. He'd still be a loss to Tottenham. Anyway, he decided to go to America and ply his trade there. And there were two players. Let me see now. There were two players in the league. Oh yeah, Novak Djokovic has become a co-owner of Le Mans. Is it Le Mans FC?
Yeah, Le Mans.
Le Mans FC. There he is. There. What's his name? Novak Djokovic. So he's going to the world of soccer. There you go now. Hope it works out for him. More people invest in it, the better.
Tom Brady has as well, hasn't he?
Huh?
Tom Brady. He's bought part of Birmingham City.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, God. And
yeah, I think he's got 45% of Birmingham City.
Yeah, he's been an owner for over a year or so, hasn't he?
Yeah. I think it's only just come out though.
Oh, over there?
Yeah.
We knew about it all the time over here.
Yeah, it was like it's been the well-kept secret, I think.
Yeah. No, it was pretty well known over here that he was an owner with Birmingham. It was well reported. Yeah. Like there's a few American guys. What's his name? JJ Watt is an owner up at Burnley.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Birmingham City will be beginning their campaign next Saturday at home to Ipswich Town, who just got relegated, as we know. Sheffield United will be beginning their campaign against Bristol City, who just failed promotion, as we know this year. And Southampton are at home to Wrexham. Wrexham was their first game away to Southampton. be a tough game for Wrexham.
Yeah.
And on Sunday, Leicester City will be at home to Sheffield Wednesday, beginning their life.
They've just announced on the radio tonight that
Yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday players are going to go on strike and they won't play that game.
Oh, Rick, yeah, that was the rumor that was going around.
Yeah,
Why is that, Joe? Why is that?
They haven't been paid for the
Yeah,
last
they haven't
3
been
months.
paid.
Well, I suppose, that's a good reason to go on strike, all right.
They were supposed to play a friendly. I think it was against West Ham last week, and they refused to play.
So there's a possibility that match with Leicester City may not be played.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to fault the players because what's been going on at Wednesday has been a disgrace. One of their stands has been shut down by Sheffield Council because it needs safety work done to it.
Yeah.
And they haven't done it. And some of the lower paid people at the club have not received their wages for the longest time. And I just saw in not sure where I saw it, but Barry Bannon, who was probably was their team captain and one of their most popular players, he had an opportunity to leave, but he re-signed with Sheffield Wednesday because he loves the club so much, and he gets a lot of respect a lot of love back from the fans.
Yeah.
So, but some of the others have not been paid, and
that's terrible.
the EPL or not the EPL, EFL are supposed to be stepping in with some solution to it, but I can't see how the EFL and the Players Union have let this go for so long.
Yeah, and the season is kicking off, and they still have done nothing about it.
Right, and this is a carry on from last year.
But so look, the Premiership is starting soon, probably in 2 weeks' time, I think. I'll get there. And the carry on with Man City is still up in the air.
Well, I know.
So we spoke about many times last year. It's probably because if you have a lot of money, you have more influence to get nothing done to you.
Well, you have better attorneys that are able to push it out.
Keep
and
pushing
the more
down the road, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got Morecambe. Are basically looks like they're about to close down because the owner wouldn't sell it today because Indian investors. I can't remember it's one of the cricket teams, the big Indian Premier League teams, wanted to buy Morecambe Town. Is it Morecambe Town?
Morecambe Town, yeah.
And the owner has basically said, no, I'm not selling it. Yet they're basically going bankrupt. But he won't sell it. He won't sell it.
So he's out of money.
Yeah, but they reckon there's a little bit of something going on that he's skint, but another umbrella company owns the ground that he wants to redevelop. It's all sorts of shenanigans going on.
Huh.
Goodness me! I don't know what to say to these things.
You'd think Tyson Fury would step in there, wouldn't you? In his hometown.
He could buy the whole club, lock, stock, and barrel. Yeah.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
We'll give him a ring after the show.
Yeah, come on, Tyson. Buy your local team.
Would you not sort it out?
Yeah, exactly. Or at least go and punch the owner or something.
I know. Next Saturday we have the Community Shield between Crystal Palace and Liverpool.
Isn't that terrible? What's happened with Palace in the European Champions League?
It's another bogeyman story, as I call it, bogeyman story. I mean, it affected Derby United here in Ireland as well.
Right.
They weren't allowed play in Europe because you can't have an interest in more than one club in the same competition. I mean, it's a height of nonsense. nonsense. They're making up different rules every day.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to think Arsenal must sail close to the win there, don't they? Because they've got big links with one of the French teams, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're probably not in the Champions League, so
No, it's in the European competitions.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at what Man City are doing with all the other their teams.
Well, Man City are a law unto themselves. You must remember that, Derwynne.
I know, just
But isn't it?
so wrong.
You can't have ownerships of two teams in the same competition.
Yeah,
because Forest were potentially going to run into that problem because their owner owns a couple of other teams, and one of them was going to be going into the Champions League as well, I think, or had the opportunity to go into it.
You have Red Bull who won a couple of teams throughout Europe as well.
Yeah,
right.
You know?
But I know it comes down to being in the same competition, I think, and that's the one that the one that's deal breaker because
I suppose you don't understand it all. Yeah. The only team who could get away with that is Man City, I think, you know. They're the only team who could get away with that, you know. And anyway, that's only my opinion.
Allegedly your opinion.
We'll
have to have a little banner come up saying allegedly.
There was a great racehorse years ago called Alleged by O'Brien. He won the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe 2 years running, I think. Anyway.
What about that? Talking about horses, what about that? The first race or the second race at Glorious Goodwood this week? They had a pace setter in there at 150 to 1.
And he won the race.
And he won.
I was watching it. He won the race at 150 to 1. I mean, sheepers.
He was a pace setter.
Yeah,
they got that slightly wrong, didn't they?
The bookies never lose. You can be sure of that. And over the weekend, there was the World Golf Championship for underage boys and girls was held up in Fermanagh. And the under-9 girls, believe it or not now, the under-9 girls was won by that little girl there. I must write out her name. What's her name? Joanna Key from Dunedin. She's living in Dunedin now with her Chinese parents. And she won the under-9 competition. And she won it by 8 strokes. And she's 9 years of age. Joanna Key. Tell me something, Derwynne, being the golf expert. She's playing off a handicap of 12.9. What does that mean in layman's language?
So if you round it up, you always round it up. So if she was 12.5, she'd go to 13 handicap. So she's 12.9, it's 13 handicap, which means that on an 18-hole golf course, if the par was 72, she'd shoot 85 on a regular basis.
Isn't that astonishing for a 9-year-old?
Yeah, and you have got other sort of 9-10-year-olds off lower handicaps than that, but yeah, I mean it's good, isn't it? I mean you have to say it's good.
I think this is astonishing altogether, you know. And
I think McIlroy when he was 12 was like something like 4 or 5 handicap, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeepers. I can't understand. I mean, if they give me 36, it's the most you can have is 36, is it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
On a good day.
With the wind behind me. In all 18 holes. Anyway, golf, the Welsh Open ladies was won by the Japanese. She held on the end to win. Mayu Yamashita, minus 11. 68, 65, 74, and 70. But Charlie Hull made a good fist of it. Charlie Hull was finished runner-up, minus 9, at 73 and 71, which suited her really. She had a closing round at 69 in the wind and rain, which is very good, you know. I like watching her. She's a very good golfer.
Like 66, 68, wasn't she? Or 66, 68, something like that? Last
66,
day?
66, 69, yeah.
69, right.
Yeah, she was very good. And
amazing to see the leaderboard that first day with 5 Japanese players at the top.
They were, yeah. Some of them are very good, they're very good. It's a more enjoyable game than the men's game. They just get on with the game. There's no
Yeah,
fuss. There's no walking around for 20 minutes looking at the ball and wondering will I hit it again? You know, there's
I
no
think
there's no no carry on like that.
the golf course was the winner this week down at Porthcawl.
Yeah. Well, and the weather.
Yeah, I mean but again, links golf. If you saw yesterday morning going out there, it was horrendous. And
Was
then in
it?
the afternoon, the leaders go out and it's lovely and sunny, all right, windy, but
I know Leona Maguire, our own Leona Maguire was out in the morning. She finished her tournament at 11 over, which
yeah,
well, was 22 shots behind the winner. Anyway,
it's so interesting links golf because the first day at the Open, at the Ladies Open, there, the first hole is actually the 18th hole at Porthcawl, and it's downhill, goes down to the sea, down to the beach.
yeah,
They were running out of fairway with their tee shots because it was so nice. And then yesterday they were hitting three woods into there, and some of them couldn't reach
the green,
the green for their second shot.
yeah, the wind
And
was very.
that's links golf. That's if it doesn't blow, those courses get ripped apart.
Yeah, that's very true in most things courses anyway. But she won $1.476 million for her effort, and Charlie Hull got 772,000. So she's happy enough for a weekend. Over in America, you had Cameron Young won the Wyndham Championship, and he won it at 22 under.
Yeah,
22 under. I
it's
know he's 60.
another resort course.
Yeah, he's 63, 62, 65, and 68. And he got 1 million, $1.5 million for that. I mean, what, as you said, what kind of a course was it? Just 7,131 yards.
Yeah, but with no rough, Pat. I mean, they go to a lot of resort courses because of the door, the size of it. They've got hotels on site, and it's a one-stop solution for most of the events. But if you put those guys out on a golf course with no rough, they'll shoot the lights out.
Well, that's very true. That's very true.
I
And
mean, it doesn't matter how long it is. They'll overpower most golf courses, and then you don't put any rough in there. It's just asking for low scores.
and is this the greatest golf shot that you ever saw?
Going.
So that's
Uh,
the 16th at Augusta, and
I never saw anything like that.
in the practice rounds. That was a practice round, and that's what they do in the practice rounds. And they move forward off the back tee, put it on the downslope, and try and skim it across the lake. That was Henrik Stenson, I think.
John Ram.
Oh, was it?
That was John Ram. Let's see it again.
Going.
Did you see the hole in one yesterday
Yeah,
at the Ladies Open?
I was watching yesterday. Yeah.
Joe, did you see it?
No, I didn't.
So, one of the girls has teed off on the par three. I think it was the fifth, and they teed off on the fifth. And how it's not gone in, I don't know. It's about an inch and a half away
From the
to
hole.
go. And the next girl tees up, hits a really nice tee shot. Ball runs up, is missing, hits her ball, and goes in for a hole in one. It's like an in-off. I mean, it was brilliant. I mean, they were two great shots. But you know when you just go, it's going to hit the other ball. It's going to hit the other ball. It hit the other ball, hits itself in. Brilliant.
Now, we had Saturday morning. We had a rugby match. That's what you call it. A rugby match between Australia and the Lions, the third test, and in a deluge of rain. Did you see anything like it? The rain. They had to delay the second half. They delayed the second half because there was lightning as well. But anyway, they came out eventually. Australia won the match 22-12 in the pouring rain. There's a warm-up matches for the Ladies World Cup in rugby, and Ireland beat Scotland 27-21, and England beat Japan 97-7. 97-7. I suppose they're a bit better than Japan, all right. But that was, I don't know why I didn't make it 100.
They did try, did they?
I saw the score, I had to check it again. 97-7. I don't know myself. 7, and look here, how many try 7.
Yeah, how did the Japanese girls get 7? They must have like all sat down, didn't they?
I don't know, could they go under them if they were small, rather than tackling them, just run under them, anyway, it's, those matches I didn't think are much good for spreading the game of rugby. But anyway, the Lions tour is over, all the razzmatazz is over, and they won the series 2-1. And what do you think? Did you see any of it Saturday? No?
No, I watched a bit of the highlights Saturday.
Yeah, I watched the highlights.
Yeah, what do you think of it?
I don't know. I think when they've won the series, it's a bit of a dead rubber, isn't it? It's a bit.
Well, when they were given the series in game 2, when they were given that try at the end, it won it for them. Remember?
Yeah. But one of them's got the Irish lad. The Irish hooker's got cited, and he's banned now.
Who?
For a few games. Sheehan?
Dan Sheehan?
Yeah. He's been banned. He's been banned for going into the scrum half's head in the last test.
Oh, I didn't read anything about it really,
Yeah, he's been.
Yeah, I just saw that today.
Yeah.
So,
he was cited for
dangerous
with his head.
tackle. Yeah, not headbutting, but he tackled hit the guy at the scrum half's head.
Jesus. It's a game that has deteriorated, in my opinion. Not take away from the Lions tour, as a general rule of thumb, I think the game of rugby needs some serious looking at.
I think as gentlemen of a certain age, shall we say, between the three of us, it's not the game we grew up watching, is it?
No. And I think that the best rugby is played in France at the moment, in my opinion, And, they always say that looking back with rose tinted glasses, but in rugby, when I was watching the start, you had a definite division between your backs and your team and your forwards. You had they looked like athletes, the backs, but they all looked the same.
They were runners, weren't they?
They were runners and tacklers and creators. I was reading about Tom Kiernan last night. Do you remember him, Joe? Tom Kiernan.
oh yeah.
The great fullback, and the man that coached Munster to beat the All Blacks.
Right.
People shouldn't forget that, Tom Kiernan. And he was such an elegant player, fabulous player, And he was a slight man, he wasn't heavy or anything, And of course he was a smoker as well, they were all smoking at that stage as well, But anyway, when you look back at rugby matches, you don't see any difference now between backs and forwards on the rugby field.
Well, it used to be in the old days, at time we're talking about, that whichever of the forwards on either side were the fittest were usually going to win the game, because the game was a bit of a slog for the first 15, 20 minutes or so, and whichever pack got tired first, the other one dominated, and then the game of rugby started. It was always funny to watch. I mean, we were talking last week, Gareth Edwards and Barry John.
Yeah.
Before they had played for Wales, when they both first got picked, I was reading an article about it. They had no training sessions back then. Before the game, the teams didn't get together. You showed up on the day and you had your gear and you played, and that was it. So Gareth and Barry John, I think Barry John was working at a bank. I don't know what Gareth was doing at the time, but they met and they went over into a park.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And Barry John took his jacket off.
Yeah.
And made it into a bit of a rugby ball. And they started working out what they were going to do and how they were going to do it on the field themselves in a park with no one else, none of the rest of the teams around. So it was like absolutely ridiculous. Yeah.
That's a famous
story. It was a different time. I made my debut for the Irish schoolboys against Wales in Dalymount in 1969, and I went up to the match, right? And I think Mick Earls was with me, and we went and we had lunch before the game with the Welsh team. And then Sean Thomas, who was the coach of the Irish team, great Bohemians coach and what have you back in the day, drove us to the match. And we were talking about it. And that was the first time I ever met the man. I'd never seen him before in my life. And it was the way it was done. I mean, the last time I saw the guys was at the trial the week before.
Yeah.
And that was it. And, we were talking about the difference between, Dublin and the rest of it. I was the only non-Dublin player in the team.
All right. Yeah.
I was the only one.
They're all local, yeah.
Yeah, they were all Dublin lads.
Yeah.
So it's just the way it was back then. And I was told when I went up for the trial, if they ask you any questions, just say yeah. Just say yeah. They ask you, can you come back for a second trial? Tell them yes, you can. You'll be here. And so it was just, the way it went. And if it hadn't been for Charlie Maloney, who was a Limerick selector, I think there was one selector from Cork, one from Limerick, and the rest were all from Dublin. And they met after the trial match. And I felt I played pretty well. And they picked the team and it was all Dublin fellas. And Charlie Maloney said, no. He said, that's not happening. And the Cork fella chimed in with him. He says, yeah. He says, you're right. So Charlie said, we're not leaving here till Joe Waters is in that team. He said, we can stay here all night if you want. So when they finished, they relented.
And that's how it was done.
It was done by the selectors in the dressing room after the trial match. And that was it. And I remember we were going, was it Amiens Street? Was Amiens Street where they trained for Limerick?
Amiens Street Station, yeah.
Right, we were walking, the bridge over the Liffey there. Myself, my brother Dermot and Frankie Liston, my cousin, were walking across the bridge, and John Griffin, who was on the Limerick Council there for a while, a big Wembley man, he was my coach at Wembley, and Charlie pulled up next to us and gave me the news just as we were about to get into the station.
To go home.
Yeah, on the way home, you've been picked, you're playing next week. So.
Wow.
But yeah, it was, it was so amateurish in those days. John Giles tells a story about how he found out in Manchester that he'd been picked for the Republic of Ireland for his first cap. He found out in the Manchester Evening Standard. He picked up the paper and it said, John Giles has been chosen for the Republic of Ireland squad. No one told him.
There's you're saying about the rugby and stuff with Barry John and Gareth Edwards. There's a great clip on one of the BBC programs called Slammed, and it was about the Welsh rugby from the 60s all the way up to the early 2000s. But there's a great clip on there where Tom Taylor, the Pontypool front row, JPR Williams, Mervyn Davis are warming up before a game but they're not warming up on the pitch. They're warming up in the car park, in the south car park at Twickenham.
Yeah.
And they're literally walking between Rolls Royces, and people are having picnics like they do at Twickenham before the game, and they're doing press ups literally next door to a Rolls Royce that's pouring champagne and
Pins
or whatever
and
like
champagne.
yeah, literally, and they're literally looking up and going, wow, look like that. And it's like someone's filmed it, but that's their warm up was to go across into the car park and do some press ups in the middle of the car where they're having a picnic.
And
Today
now it's gone to the other extreme in rugby. You have a fitness coach, strength and conditioning, you have a psychologist, you have a stats man, you have a video man, you have a playback man, you have a kicking coach. You have about 15, you have a coach for every player.
Yeah, well, I've told you in the past about the physiologist who I played golf with for the Welsh Rugby Union.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a physiologist who's basically they're 12-year-old team all the way up to the international team. Not grooming is probably the wrong word, but he's looking at the kids and the under 14s, the under 18s, and that not having a growth spurt, you're not going to make it, you're not big enough, and all the rest of it. And yeah, I mean, it's amazing what goes on.
I know. I mean, it used to be that the first time you stepped on the field to inspect the field before the game, then you went back into the dressing room and you stayed there till 5 to 3, and then you ran out onto the field and you warmed up for the 5 minutes while they were doing the toss up and the whole thing to get the game going. It was unheard of that you'd be doing warm ups and stuff like that.
Yeah, and ice mat. Do you have an ice mat, Joe?
I did. Yeah.
Was that out of choice though, Joe?
Contrast one is the worst. Sorry, Derwynne, what was that?
I said, was it out of choice or was it just the away dressing room only had cold showers?
Oh yeah. It was. I'm telling you, man. We played at Hartlepool once, and the bath must have been probably about 6 by 5, right? 6 feet by 5 feet, right?
Yeah.
And there was a fight to get in there because there was no hot water once the second lot came in. So and the fastest you'd run would be off the field to get into the dressing room to get in the shower first. It was unbelievable. And they had a potbelly stove in the middle of the dressing room to warm it up.
Oh my God!
People wouldn't believe it. I mean, the things that you had to go through. It was unbelievable.
And the pictures were absolutely appalling altogether, as we've seen from the old clips,
Oh yeah. And I mean, you're talking about first division pitches.
Oh,
you're not just talking about fourth division pitches. The first division pitches were just as bad.
That was the thing, though, about the cup final, wasn't it, Joe? That was the big thing about the cup final, that you'd walk out onto Wembley and it was like a carpet.
Oh yeah.
And you weren't used to it,
right?
Because I remember, you'd listen to players, they'd be getting cramped with 20 minutes to go because they always felt Wembley A was a massive pitch, but B it was always like heavier than running in the mud as such.
So yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember that being the phenomenon with the whole thing. It was and then they had the cup final in 1970 after the
Horse of the Year show.
The Horse of the Year show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was horrendous, wasn't it?
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. And then the replay was at Old Trafford, and the pitch was worse. Have you ever seen any film of that game? That game was absolutely unbelievable. Eddie McCready was the Chelsea left back, played left back for Scotland as well, and him and Billy Bremner, both Scottish, played with each other. Scotland, right?
Tough player.
There's a ball comes into the box, and Bremner is going to head it. Eddie McCready comes flying across from his left back position, 2 feet in the air at Bremner's head. And the referee didn't even give a free kick. Played on.
Play on.
I'm telling you, it was absolutely unbelievable.
Like the story the man told when I play on.
Yeah, play on. Yeah.
I watched a great clip. Not clip. I watched the Yorkshire TV program of when Clough got sacked at Leeds.
Oh yeah.
And they brought him onto Yorkshire TV that night to do a interview with the sports. But what he didn't know was they'd invited Revie as well.
Don Revie.
Yeah. And Revie was sitting next to him, and it's worth the what. I watched the whole document. It wasn't document. It was a show.
It was Austin Mitchell conducted the interview, didn't he? Yeah.
And he literally apologised to Clough with like a minute to go, because Clough was sitting in the chair and he was sitting there and he was like, "I'm really sorry about this, but Don Revie's coming." And Don Revie walked onto the set and sat down next to him, and like you could see that Clough just wanted to let rip. But if you watch the documentary, Clough was so I don't know, diplomatic, I think is probably the word.
Yeah.
Kept calling him Mr. Revie.
Yeah.
And there was some angst there between them two, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, that was And I thought that, I remember watching it at the time that it actually happened, and I remember thinking these guys wanted this thing to go sideways. They wanted these two at each other's throats, and Clough maintained his composure so well.
Yeah.
In the whole thing, he could have let rip. I mean, what he did do was like I said, a very diplomatic way. He got his point across, and Revie still couldn't get over the fact that Cloughy was breaking up his team and his boys and stuff like that. So it was a very interesting interview
it was. Totally interesting. Going back to something you just said there, Joe, about the Horse of the Year show.
Yeah.
So after that cup final, they dug up the pitch, and all the turf for Wembley used to come from Ganton Golf Club in Yorkshire. It was all thrown up at Ganton and then brought down on lorries and re-turfed every sort of 2 or 3 years. They'd re-turf Wembley. But where we lived in Wembley, and Mary, I don't know if Mary's with you, Pat.
Yeah.
But our front garden, our front lawn and our back lawn was taken straight out of Wembley when they re-turfed it, because we were, as kids, we knew exactly what was happening at the stadium. And on a Sunday morning, used to be a massive market in Wembley outside the stadium in the car parks. And the groundsman was basically put all the turf outside, and you basically could just back your car up to it and fill up your boot with turf from Wembley.
And take it away.
Our front and back garden at Wembley, and the back garden was 100 yards long, the back garden at Wembley. And that was all Wembley turf and the front garden. my dad and my granddad, who was obviously the Honan from Limerick, those two basically relayed our gardens with turf from Wembley. So I can actually say me and my brother kicked about on Wembley.
Yeah, you could. And rightly so. Over the weekend, the man there on the right-hand side, Rackman Alley, that's Muhammad Ali. That's Cassius Tay and his brother as children. He was a year and a half older than Cassius. He passed away over the weekend. Rahman Ali, and he is a professional boxer for a short career, short time. He only had 14 professional fights. He won 10 of them. He became Ali's sparring partner then from then on as well. And he lived all his life in Louisville, Kentucky, where the family came from. But he passed away over the weekend. I suppose one of the final links with that era of boxing. And
Yeah.
yeah, over now, you know. He wrote a few books as well. Uh, and I was looking at one over the weekend, me and my brother, or something just called, which is interesting. Interesting history to get if people are into that kind of thing. But another link with a I would regard as the golden era of boxing, the 70s and the 80s. Certainly not now, anyway. But back then, you know, it was something to look forward to.
I
But I give
listened to
more
a
news.
I listened to a podcast last night, and it was all about hiccups and mishaps in sport.
Yes,
And do you remember when Ben Johnson won the gold in that 100 meters where he got banned?
Right.
1988 in Seoul.
Right. Well, did you know? I didn't know that. I didn't know this. That I knew. I remember watching him run. But did you know that every single runner in that 100 meters final all got done for drugs over the next
Yes,
5 years?
every one of them, including Linford Christie as well.
Yeah, all got done for drugs at some point in
Yeah,
their career.
yeah,
Wow.
So maybe he did win it fairly. Because
Yeah.
they got,
yeah. Maybe they rushed to judgment. I know
yeah,
the Hungarian Grand Prix was on over the weekend in Formula One. They're halfway through the season. There's a break now for a few weeks, and Norris won it from Piastri and Russell, Leclerc, and the wonderful Fernando Alonso came in fifth. I mean, he's one of the last of the old drivers of the generation before the new ones, you know. And he was like a child that got the box of chocolates after the race. Fernando Alonso, he was absolutely delighted to see him afterwards, you know. Anyway, Piastri is still leading it on 284 points. Norris is on 275. Verstappen is on 187 and Russell is on 172. So it's between Norris and Piastri, the championship. And I don't know who's going to win that, you know, I don't know. Just getting on to cricket, Derwynne, I want to ask you a question. India beat England in the 5-day test, as you know. And they said, now I don't understand cricket. I mean, I understand the basic rules of it, you know. If you're in, they're trying to get you out. The people that are out are trying to get in. I know all that, you know. And when you're in, then the other crowd are out trying to get in themselves. I know that. I think that's the basic idea of cricket. I'm only joking. There's more to that, like, but anyway, they said they won by 6 runs, but India were 367 all out, and England were 396 all out. Now, to my way of thinking, I'm good at maths. England were almost 30 runs ahead. But
yeah,
yet they said they won. They said they won them by 6 wickets. Does that mean that India were all out? Obviously, they were all out,
yeah.
so they couldn't bat anymore. So they won by the wickets rather than the runs.
Well, I think they won by X amount of runs, but they had 6 wickets spare.
Ah, but they caught the win. I was looking at it. Oh, I see. I
That
saw
makes,
some of it on the telly. It was quite good, I must say.
and then one of the was it Noakes came out with a broken arm or something
Yeah.
to bat
Yeah. He played
one-handed.
one-handed.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever remember back in the late 70s, one of the great West Indian teams that had like Malcolm Marshall, Holding,
Gary
Courtney Love.
Sobers.
No, later than that. But they had Joel Garner, Malcolm
Was Viv
Holt-
Richards on that team?
Yeah, Viv Richards was in it.
Viv
Clive
Richards
Boyd
is
was in it.
beautiful.
But they had the 4 fastest bowlers in the world at the time. So they had Holding, Malcolm Marshall, Courtney Walsh, and Joel Gardner. And one of the England players had broken his arm, and they literally put him out last. And he came out and he faced those 4. The West Indies put their fast bowlers back on to face him, and he made about something like 20 runs one-handed. And the guy was saying about it on the radio today about, well, it happened before. His name was Paul Taylor, this guy. And Paul Taylor openly admits that all he was doing was putting his bat in the way of his head to try and avoid getting hit.
Oh, yes.
And he managed like a dozen runs or something off the 4 fastest bowlers with a broken arm.
It's incredible. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff.
That was a dangerous game at that time with those guys. I mean, when they were throwing their bouncers at you, that was like, wow. Yeah.
Well, I remember playing golf with Michael Holding, and then I remember being in Australia in Perth and going to see the West Indies play Australia at the Wacker. And my mate was the pro at the Vines in Perth, and the West Indian team was staying at the Vines, and went to watch. He got tickets through them. Went to watch them play. And then a couple of days later, I was playing golf with him at the Vines, and they were out walking around and playing golf and whatever. And I had no idea just how tall those guys were. I mean, they were all like 6'6", and like built like brick outhouses. And you think to yourself, like, those bouncers coming down and going over your head. I mean, that must be hellish scary when you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, Ronnie O'Sullivan, I was just reading about Ronnie O'Sullivan got married to his longtime partner, as you know, recently, and he's over in China at the moment at the Shanghai Masters. And he has found his mojo again for snooker. He was beaten in the quarterfinal by Karen Wilson 6-3, but Karen Wilson went on to win it against Sally Carter 11-9. But anyway, that's what's put over in America. They had the athletics trials for the next the upcoming World Championships, and one of the best female athletes in the world, Shea Carrie Richardson. She runs both 100 and 200. She's automatically will be invited to take part in the World Championships as the gold medal holder on the 100 meters. But she missed out on the 200 meters. She was arrested at Seattle Airport by the local police, and on an assault charge. Now her husband didn't make the charge. It was her husband or boyfriend, her partner we call him. He didn't make. He's a sprinter as well. He didn't make anything about it. It was reported to the police, and they went and arrested her. As a result of that, she missed the 200 meters trials, so she can't participate in them in the World Championships. And nothing came of this in the end, except the fact that she missed the trials because, as you might say, because of a nosy neighbour. Now the partner said there's just a misunderstanding and all that, and there's no charges or nothing happening over this. But it just goes to show, I mean, her earning potential as well. You know who she is. I mean, we saw her running. She's a fantastic talent. And she's now missing that because of nothing in the end.
Well, she allegedly assaulted her boyfriend.
Somebody allegedly.
I knew that she pushed him against the wall. My God, I mean, really, honest to God, I don't know what the world is coming to. I don't know anymore. I don't know, what the world is coming to.
Yeah,
Kerry FC have released 2 players after they were caught stealing from a local supermarket. Now, the 2 players were Mateus Randri-Mami and Shane Marudza. They were sacked by the Irish club after they were caught basically thieving from SuperValu, like a local supermarket in Ireland. Crazy. Now, they've only been signed like for a week. What Kerry came out with was kind of very PG in terms of their press statement. They said, unfortunately, their values and principles didn't match the standards of the club. Now, it was later revealed that they actually were caught stealing from SuperValu, the local supermarket. I don't know why. Look, you're talking about 2 players that played at a very high level. The goalkeeper, Mateus Randri-Mami, he was on the books for PSG once upon a time. To get someone who's once on the books for PSG playing in Kerry, who are like second tier in Ireland, is big. And Marudza was a former Huddersfield Town academy player, Zimbabwean international. Although they're still young, seasoned individuals playing for the club, and just like that, ruining their chances in football, because now that's out there in the public eye, clubs are going to be arming and ahhing now to be taking a chance on these 2, because what are their morals? Do you know what I mean? Like, the club said it correctly. Like, their values and principles didn't match the standards of the club. Now, a lot of clubs could say the same things. We don't want shoplifters or people that feel like it's right to be thieving from other people's businesses. On the flip side of things, people were saying that sometimes making ends meet in terms of playing football, especially in quote-unquote lower leagues. I think they'd only been there a week, so maybe KFC hadn't paid them yet and they were struggling to make ends meet in terms of getting food in. So they got caught stealing some food, I believe it was. Like I said, stealing is never correct in any walk of life. But at the same time, sometimes desperate times lead to desperate measures, and this might have been a desperate one. You shouldn't really need to be stealing when you've got any type of income, especially a footballer's income. So I'll be interested to get your thoughts on it. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below on that one.
Well, that was a story I came across myself. They're playing actually down the road tonight. Kerry FC are only in the league 2 years, and they're in the Division 1 in Ireland. They're playing Treaty United tonight in Limerick, in the road, you know. And those 2 players were recently arrived in Kerry, you know. They have made great strides as a club, Kerry FC that is, as a club, and they're doing great things for soccer in Kerry. As you know, Joe, there was never any big... It's a bastion of Gaelic football, that county in Ireland, you know. You wouldn't get a soccer player within an ass's roar anywhere out of Kerry, but they've done great things underage as well, Kerry FC. And they're doing reasonably well in Division 1, you know. They found their feet, they found their form, you know, and they build. But I thought that was an interesting story, you know, of 2 players who arrived recently, 2 signings they had, and they had to let them go after a couple of weeks. No,
Yeah.
I don't know what the story is behind the story, if you know what I mean. I only read the story as I read it, as he explained it. But I mean, for somebody, not those 2 now we're talking about, for somebody to steal food in the supermarket, number one, it's a sign of absolute desperation, I think.
Right. You know, just what the man doing the show there, you know, I've been around soccer for a long time and I've experienced a lot of things. I was playing up in Calgary for a summer, and I was staying in a downtown hotel, and we had players, young players that were brought in from all over Canada, mainly from Vancouver and Victoria, and they were staying in the hotel. Well, the club was struggling for money big time, and the lads were all young lads, so they were all stuck for money, and they weren't eating because they didn't have money. They wouldn't. I mean, here's what happened on payday. When we finished training at the ground, and you got your checks, the first 4 cars out the parking lot to get to the bank got paid. The rest of them, the checks bounced, and that was the reality of it. And,
shit!
yeah, and I mean, these lads had no money. They couldn't get part-time jobs or anything like that. And I took over as coach about halfway through the season, and every night in my room, I fed those guys because I was getting paid.
Yeah.
the player coach, and the
Yeah.
manager or the owner was paying me in cash. So I would go to the supermarket and I would buy bags of pasta,
Yeah, spaghetti bolognese, really nice.
cans of pasta sauce and
Yeah.
bread and salad, and that's what I fed them on every day. I mean that was how they survived, and they didn't, you know. I mean, I don't know that they resorted to anything like that, but I could imagine that.
Well,
You know,
I
when you're in the lower leagues, like he says, I mean, I, I just, I, I just imagine that those guys must have been given some money when they arrived. You know,
well, there's
contract.
well, there wouldn't be a big signing on fee for Division One in Ireland. I
Right.
don't think, without knowing all the facts, they'd have come. They wouldn't have come to Ireland except they had some representatives of theirs. They didn't come out of thin air. So I presume there was a contract there drawn up in with terms and conditions, and that would have been looked over before they ever set foot in the country. You know, and all the other arrangements had to be made with visas and working visas and all of that. You know, so in order to come to Ireland, despite what people might say, you just can't fly into Ireland with your two hands in your pockets and ramble around the country, you know. Despite
Yeah.
what
Well,
people,
I mean,
you know.
that's not. You know,
Now
that's
in
the first
England,
time.
if you're going to England now, the best way to go is go to France and come across in the dinghies. Is that right, Derwynne? That's the best way to get to England today.
Yeah,
Just
you
come
get a
across the
house,
English Channel,
you
and you'll
get
be put up in a four-star
healthcare, you
hotel.
get dentist,
You'll
you
be,
get everything. Yeah.
you'll
Don't
be put
get
up
me
in
on
a,
it.
you'll be put up in a five-star hotel with full
Yeah.
meals, full board and meals.
And you get money.
And you get, oh, yeah, I forgot that part, man.
Yeah. Don't start me on it. Don't get me on it.
But
Yeah.
apart from good old England, you just can't come into a country with, as you said, with your hands in your pockets and stroll around the place anymore. You know, that's not on. But I don't know what happened to those two guys, and I just hope that things will work out for them down the line. You know, just
Yeah.
hope. They do.
I mean, to be honest, I can't imagine that if those guys were that desperate that they didn't go to the coach, manager of the team, or the owner and say, "Hey, we've got no money. We need to be, you know, we're starving. Is there anything the club can do for us?" And I mean, even if you took them home and fed them, you
Yes.
know, you would do something for them. So
Well,
it just
if
it's
I
I
was
read
the manager
that story and
of the club, if I wasn't bringing them home, I'd give them enough money to get food for themselves.
yeah.
You know, it's a strange story, and we obviously don't have it all here. And if we hear any more during the week, I'll bring an update on it next week for people. But
I'd be interested to hear the
yeah,
backstory to it.
yeah,
What was
yeah,
you know, behind the whole thing, you know.
yeah, that'll be good. I don't know. Next season we have the non-event Liverpool and Crystal Palace in the Charity Shield. That's just I suppose we'll see a lot of new signings. I think myself, and I have no expertise in the matter. I think myself, Crystal Palace could be one of the surprise teams in the Premiership this year. I could say just down the line, you know. And maybe your team, Darwin, will do something.
I think they might make it to the top half this year. Not going to get carried away, Joe.
No, I mean it's good to have ambition, you know.
Can you imagine ever saying Man United might get the top half?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what a state of affairs is Man United in that you got a United fan saying, "Well, they might make the top 10."
And you have a stadium that's leaking, that's in disrepair as well around the place in Old Trafford.
Daggers me. And now I think what's his name? Hoyland's on the move, isn't he?
He is. You can have him for 30 million if you want him.
Well, they're talking about maybe a swap deal for that that other forward they're looking at from Germany. The because
Awesome,
the Germans are pretty high. The German coaches, staff, or something are pretty high on Hoyland, so they're thinking that they could get, do a part exchange, and that would give them the opportunity to get an extra player in, or put some of that money towards an extra player. So, and of course, they're hoping that Garnacho is going to go out the door.
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out in the last few days of the transfer deadline time.
I saw there's an AI clip going on. I forgot to download it for tonight. You know, the African National Congress, all the African countries, they come together every so often and they have a big meeting. But the AI program is on that. And superimposed into the thing is Harry Maguire sitting there in his Man United jersey. And they're discussing Harry Maguire at Man United. All the delegates. I think this is the funniest thing. I meant to get it there. I'll find it for next week. It's the funniest thing you'll ever see, ever in soccer. You know? Harry Maguire is sitting there totally bemused. I'll find the clip for next week. And for this edition of SportsView, lads, it's great to have you along again. And good sporting until next week again. So from Joe and Derwynne and myself, shall we see you again next week? Take care and stand there.
See you, boys.
Good night, lads. Take care.
Take care.